You must now live, speak, move, and think as if the entire world is depending on you, because in some unseen but absolute way it is. This is not poetry, this is law. Every word you speak carries a consequence. Every decision you delay carries a cost. There is a man somewhere behind you, watching how you carry yourself in silence. A boy wondering if greatness is still possible. A woman doubting whether strength still exists in men. A future leader waiting for someone to rise so he can believe again. This world has enough men who drift, enough men who wait, enough men who ask for permission to be great. But you are now called to stand apart. You must act as if your obedience to purpose will determine whether 1,000 others rise or never begin. This is the sacred burden of power, and only those who accept it can wield it. This is not about success for success's sake. This is not about reputation or applause. This is about becoming the living example of what it means to walk in decision, to speak with conviction, to act with fire, and to labor with excellence even when no one claps, because history is watching and the future is taking notes. If you fail, the man behind you may fall. If you compromise, you give others the excuse to quit. If you lower your standard, you give society permission to expect less from itself. But if you rise, if you choose to master yourself, then you give the silent, sleeping, struggling millions a reason to wake up. So do not merely hear this message. Receive it. Let it shake you. Let it disrupt every excuse you've carried. Sit upright. Listen with the weight this moment deserves, because from this day forward, your life is no longer about comfort. It is about consequence. You are now a man upon whom history may rise or fall. You must act like failure is not an option, because it isn't. Most men walk the earth asleep. They eat, they work, they speak, and they pass the time, but their minds are not under control. Their days are lived without purpose. They drift. And worst of all, they convince themselves that their actions matter to no one. This lie, this poisonous falsehood, is what keeps the majority poor, broken, and spiritually asleep. But you, if you are to rise, must accept a different law. You must now live, speak, act, and decide as if your life is not your own. As if the whole world is counting on you to rise to your purpose, because in truth, it is. One man in possession of his mind, his plan, and his faith can redirect the course of generations. And if you fail to take that mantle, the line behind you breaks. You have been assigned a task by infinite intelligence. That task was not written in ink or proclaimed with trumpets. It was sown into your soul. You feel it when you sit in silence and sense that you were made for something more. That ache, that burden, that whisper is your appointment, a divine contract that only you can fulfill. The tragedy is that most ignore this appointment. They drown it in distraction. They suppress it with doubt. They let fear convince them that someone else will carry the weight. But I say to you plainly, no one else is coming. The task is yours. And if you fall short, the chain breaks. The generations that could have been elevated through your obedience will suffer for your hesitation. Responsibility is not a preference. It is a spiritual law. And you are either obeying that law or violating it with every choice. When a man rejects responsibility, life punishes him. Not always immediately, but inevitably. He feels the slow rot of regret, the weakening of will, the absence of peace. That is the price of evasion. Life does not reward you for mere survival. It does not honor the man who avoids pain or seeks comfort. Life rewards the man who commands it, the one who stands up and declares, I will carry this weight. I will fulfill my purpose regardless of hardship. That man becomes magnetic. He is granted access to strength others never touch. You must now install within your spirit the identity that creates destiny. I am the type of man who cannot afford to lose focus, for my future and the future of others depends on me. Say it aloud. Feel it settle into your spine. Let it burn the excuses you have carried. From this moment forward, You are no longer a lone individual seeking self-improvement. You are a steward of unseen responsibilities. There are souls behind you who will either rise or fall depending on whether you master yourself. Without a definite chief aim, you are a dead man walking. You may have breath in your lungs and food on your plate, but your power is buried. To live without aim is to volunteer for spiritual poverty. It is to become a shell through which the winds of the world blow without resistance. That is not living. That is drifting. So I now give you the ritual that awakens power. Write your chief aim. Place it on your mirror. Speak it aloud twice a day, every day. It matters not whether you feel ready. Read it when you are strong. Read it when you are weak. Read it when your voice trembles and your vision is unclear. For each repetition trains your subconscious mind to believe. And what the subconscious believes, it creates. Do not insult your own future by neglecting this ritual. This is not idle instruction. It is spiritual machinery. It is the same law that guided the greatest men I have known. And it will not function for the man who approaches it with doubt or indifference. Speak your aim with faith or do not speak at all. Now hear me. If you do not act as if your every step matters, you will fall under the hypnosis of drift. And the devil, yes, that force of laziness, fear, doubt, and distraction, will claim your mind as his own. He will give you comfort, but he will take your purpose. He will give you ease, but steal your strength. Most men are already claimed. They do not wear chains or cry out in pain. No, they smile, they jest, and they sleep, unaware that they are not living their own thoughts. But you must walk another path. You must install urgency, discipline, intention. You must decide that every hour spent without aim is treason to your own soul. The clock is ticking. You think you have time, but time is not your servant. It is your creditor. It charges you for every minute wasted in passivity. The future is not waiting. Someone is waiting on you to become who you were meant to be, and if you do not rise, they may never believe they can. Let me speak to you now of a man who understood this burden. A man who was not wealthy when he began. A man who faced ridicule, defeat, and sorrow, but who carried a purpose heavier than fear. That man was Abraham Lincoln. He did not run for fame. He did not speak for applause. He acted from within. When the weight of a divided nation fell upon him, he did not flinch. He acted as if the world was counting on him, because it was. His silence was calculated. His decisions were deliberate. His rise was not for himself, but for a principle larger than any one man. And because he acted with moral power, his name echoes through eternity. He accepted the burden, and history bent to him. Do not make the mistake of thinking your role is small because your audience is small. The world does not rise through mass movements. It rises when one man decides that his life will be lived on purpose. That man becomes a chain breaker, an anchor for the lost, a spark that lights 1,000 fires. That man can be you, if you are willing to carry what others avoid. You must now begin to see yourself as the center of a divine assignment. You are not an accident. You are not average. You were born to be an example, to live in such a way that others are moved to believe again, to decide again, to stand again. That is your charge. That is the burden of power. So stand tall, shoulders back, eyes forward. No more apologies for wanting more. No more explanations to small minds. No more retreat into comfort. From this day forward, you act as if the whole world is depending on your rise, because in some way it is. Faith is not a soft word. It is not to be whispered or merely hoped for. Faith is the foundation of all power. It is not emotion. It is command. It is the mental position a man assumes when he decides that life will not dictate to him, he will dictate to life. It is the deliberate act of belief, planted through repetition and made permanent through discipline. Most men confuse faith with hope. Hope waits. Faith moves. Hope pleads. Faith declares. Hope is the language of the uncertain. Faith is the weapon of the master. And if you are to rise above fear, mediocrity, and weakness, you must learn to plant faith in your mind until nothing else can grow in its place. You must train belief like a soldier trains his rifle until it obeys without hesitation. You do not need faith in the opinions of others. You do not need faith in favorable conditions. You need faith in the law. And the law is this: what you believe emotionally and repeatedly, you will bring into form. The subconscious mind does not argue. It accepts, it records, it reflects. Speak to it in faith, and it will deliver miracles. Speak to it in fear, and it will deliver ruin. This is the purpose of autosuggestion. Not to make you feel better, but to make you stronger. To replace the vague inner voice of doubt with a chosen and deliberate declaration of truth. These affirmations are not phrases for comfort, they are commands to the subconscious, and your subconscious controls your results. It will either follow your orders or follow your fear. You must speak the words aloud, not once, not when convenient, but daily, at fixed times, with feeling behind them. When you wake, speak. When you retire, speak. And when you do, see the words as already fulfilled. Feel them as present reality. The subconscious responds to emotion, not just language. It must be impressed by the tone of certainty, not the tone of hope. Use these declarations. Plant them into your being. I was born to fulfill a purpose no man can take from me. I will persist until I succeed. I act as if failure is not possible, for I have already decided. Do not wait until you feel strong to say them. Say them when you feel broken. Say them when your back is against the wall. Say them when the world mocks you. For every repetition spoken with conviction adds another stone to the fortress of your belief. This is how empires are built, not in noise, but in repetition. Let me tell you of a man who conquered through faith, not faith in luck, but in the law of belief. Henry Ford was laughed at. Bankers rejected him. Engineers scorned him. Yet he held one vision, a motor car for the common man. He did not waver. He repeated that aim until it filled his being. He acted as if it was already real. And because he believed with certainty, so it became. Ford did not place his faith in machinery. He placed it in the principle that the subconscious, when impressed with definite purpose and belief, would draw to him the minds, plans, resources, and circumstances needed. And it did. That is not superstition. It is not guesswork. It is a law, a spiritual law, and it is available to you now. Faith is not reserved for preachers or mystics. It is the tool of the practical man, the laborer, the entrepreneur, the visionary. You are not excluded. You are invited. But you must obey the rules. Speak your chief aim daily. Declare your belief in it. See it as already accomplished. And never allow contrary thoughts to dwell in your mind. You must not beg life for results. You must demand them, not in arrogance, but in alignment with law. A farmer does not hope the crop will grow. He expects it because he has planted seed, tilled soil, and obeyed the laws of nature. So it is with success. If you speak with faith, act with belief, persist with discipline, life must respond. It has no choice. But beware, this law is neutral. It will grow whatever is planted. If you plant fear, you will reap chaos. If you plant limitation, you will attract barriers. Many a man has believed in disaster more than he has believed in success, and the law, indifferent to right or wrong, has delivered what he ordered. So I ask you, what are you planting? What do you speak about when no one is listening? What do you rehearse in your thoughts? What images live behind your eyes? Are they of defeat? Are they of lack? If so, then you have already written the next chapter of your life, and you must now burn it. Tear it from the soil and replace it with certainty. You must declare now, I believe that what I speak with faith, I shall see. I am becoming the man who receives what he demands of life. I no longer wait for permission to believe. I have already decided. The world does not bend for those who wait. It bends for those who decide and believe. Every great achievement began not with action, but with thought. charged with belief. The Wright brothers believed flight was possible. Edison believed light could be drawn from wire. Carnegie believed poor men could become kings. What do you believe? Let me be plain. There is no power in wishing. There is no reward for vague intentions. There is only law. You must believe in something so strong that the entire world in opposition cannot shake it from your hands. This is not arrogance. It is alignment with infinite intelligence. It is obedience to the invisible order behind all that we see. Every man must choose which thought becomes his master. You will either be ruled by faith or by fear, by belief or by doubt. And you choose not once, but daily, with your words, with your tone, with the energy you carry. Your belief is not invisible. It shows in your step. It shows in your posture. It shows in your eyes. So I ask you now, what do you radiate? What vibration do you cast into the world? Do you carry the presence of a man who knows he cannot fail, or the hesitation of one who doubts his own right to rise? The world cannot help you if you walk in uncertainty, but it will kneel before the man of unshakable belief. You are now armed with truth. Faith is not given, it is built. You build it by repetition, visualization, affirmation, and decision. You do not need 10 years. You need one day, repeated 1,000 times. One belief, driven into the ground of the mind until nothing else can grow. Speak the words, choose the thoughts, hold the vision. The mind you command today becomes the world you live in tomorrow. And when your belief becomes law within you, nothing outside you can deny it. Indecision is the cancer of the soul. It eats silently. It paralyzes without pain. And it is the reason most men die long before they are buried. They wait. They wonder. They ask too many questions. They hesitate. And every hour they delay, their strength leaks, their purpose decays, and their vision fades into the fog of forgotten potential. The masses are not defeated by force. They are defeated by hesitation. It is not failure that ruins them. It is the refusal to decide. They stand on the edge of change, but never leap. They speak of action, but never commit. They pretend to plan, but hide in fear. Understand this. Power begins the moment you decide, and you remove every other option. To decide means to cut off, to burn the bridge behind you, to destroy retreat, to remove the luxury of escape. Until you do this, you are not living. You are lingering. And you cannot possess great power while leaving the door open to doubt. The man who builds an empire does not keep a return ticket. He commits his soul. He declares victory or death. Napoleon Bonaparte understood this law. There was a moment when his men landed upon foreign shores. The battle ahead was uncertain, but he ordered the ships burned. When asked why, he said, "If we leave those boats, we leave the choice of surrender. But without retreat, our only option is victory." That is the spirit you must now carry. You must act like there is no way back. No plan B, no backup dream, no escape hatch. The man who prepares to retreat is already half defeated. The man who acts as if he cannot fail will find that life aligns with his courage. This is not recklessness. It is obedience to the law of power. Power respects certainty. Most men drift because they keep one foot in fear and the other in fantasy. They are not rooted in purpose. They are not defined by decision. They live in hesitation, and that hesitation becomes the rhythm of their days. If you allow it, that rhythm will become your prison. You will feel time pass, but never touch destiny. Say it aloud. I decide, I do not hesitate. I move forward without fear. I am the kind of man who eliminates delay. This identity is not optional. It is necessary. For without it, you will never take the steps required to meet the man you were meant to become. You will always hold back, always second guess, always defer to the opinions of lesser minds. And the power that was placed within you will rot unused. Indecision is the devil's playground. It is the silent assassin of greatness. It never screams. It never threatens. It whispers, "Wait." It says, "Think about it a little longer." It encourages you to survey every possible outcome, to consult the opinions of the unqualified, to convince yourself that more time will bring more courage. But time does not give courage. Decision does. Successful men decide quickly and change their minds slowly. They move with inner clarity. They understand that life rewards momentum, that every hesitation invites resistance, that the world bends for those who act as if it must. Those who fail, they study, they plan, they research, but they do not decide. And because of this, they live as spectators to the success of others. Now take your chief aim, the one you wrote and began to speak aloud, and apply it. Choose one plan, one path, one definite beginning. Act on it now, not tomorrow, not after a perfect strategy is written, not when your confidence is higher. Now, for every sunrise you waste is a page torn from your story, and the pages are not infinite. Understand that life punishes hesitation. Time is not neutral. Time is a creditor. It charges interest. For every dream delayed, the price increases. For every excuse tolerated, the cost grows. The world will not wait for your comfort. It will move on. It will reward the one who stepped forward while you were still seeking clarity. You must develop within you the habit of immediate action. Thought followed by movement, vision followed by decision. Do not seek the feeling of readiness. Seek the identity of decisiveness. Tell yourself, this is who I am now. I act, I commit, I follow through. This identity will produce results where logic never could. Let me remind you of a forgotten law. Every great transformation begins with a violent act of decision. It does not begin with applause. It does not begin with approval. It begins in silence when a man stands alone and says, "I will no longer live as I have." That declaration is the start of every revolution. You must carry within you the energy of one who has already succeeded. The world senses indecision. It smells doubt. It responds with resistance. But when it senses authority, true mental conviction, it bends. Doors open, people listen, events arrange themselves, not because you waited, but because you decided. Burn the bridge behind you. Remove the retreat. The man who gives himself the option to quit will always use it. But the man who places himself beyond the point of return will find strength he did not know he had. His mind sharpens, his will hardens, his soul awakens. Because now, failure is no longer a possibility. It is a betrayal, and that is how you must now live. As if to fail would not only hurt you, but would betray your purpose. Betray the people depending on your example. Betray the generations behind you. When you see your life as a sacred obligation, decision becomes easy. There is no choice but forward. There is no question but, when do I begin? And the answer is always, now. You have lingered long enough in hesitation. You have studied, read, consumed, and considered. But you are not here to consume. You are here to create, to move, to embody the truth you say you believe. And there is only one way to do that. Decide. Act. Burn the bridge. Begin again with no way back. A single action performed once has no power, but an action repeated daily at the same hour with the same intensity and the same intention becomes a law within the mind. That law is known as hypnotic rhythm. It is nature's silent enforcement mechanism. It does not argue. It does not ask. It simply takes what you do most often and makes it permanent. Most men are unaware of this law, and because of that, they are ruled by it. They eat in rhythm. They doubt in rhythm. They speak in weakness and think in fear over and over until that rhythm becomes who they are. Their personality is not their own. It is the product of repeated thoughtlessness. They are not free men. They are patterned machines. But the man of purpose uses hypnotic rhythm deliberately. He trains it, he molds it, he forces it to serve him. Every day he selects the thoughts he will repeat, the words he will say, the tasks he will complete. And because he does so consistently, those actions harden into identity. The man becomes what he does, just as surely as the sculptor becomes his chisel. You do not rise by effort once. You rise by habit built daily. You are not the result of a single victory, but of 100 repetitions. The world does not reward occasional greatness. It rewards consistent, deliberate discipline. The man who masters his daily routine becomes master over his future. He needs no motivation, for his movement is built into the rhythm of his being. Understand this. Every thought you allow to dwell in your mind is either strengthening a weakness or building power. There is no neutral. You are either ascending or declining. Each repeated complaint weakens your posture. Each repeated excuse erodes your self-belief. But each declaration of purpose, spoken in rhythm, strengthens your grip on destiny. Picture a train. When still, it appears harmless. But once in motion, once its rhythm is established, it becomes a force that nothing can stop. So it is with your mind. So it is with your habits. Once the rhythm is established, you cannot help but move forward. Resistance fades. Doubt dissolves. Your actions become automatic. And those actions determine your fate. This is why the successful build rituals. They do not leave their minds to chance. They rise at set times. They read aloud their chief aim. They immerse themselves in their purpose before the world's noise begins. They review their goals at night. They reflect, they correct, they repeat, not once but daily until they cannot not do it. Thomas Edison did not invent the light bulb through inspiration. He created it through rhythm, focused attention, relentless testing. He failed hundreds of times, but each day he returned to the laboratory, not because of excitement, but because the rhythm had already taken hold. His habit pulled him forward even when motivation could not. Let me give you the truth plainly. I train myself like an athlete of thought. Every day I build the man I have decided to become. What I do once, I do again. What I do again becomes who I am. These declarations are not opinions. They are instructions to the subconscious mind. They are the formula by which weak men become powerful. Each repetition is a brick. Each day of obedience is a stone laid into the foundation of power. And soon a castle is formed, impregnable to fear, to distraction, to drift. Now I challenge you. List your daily rhythms. Write them down with honesty. Which are making you powerful? Which are making you poor? Do you rise at your chosen time, or do you drift into the day? Do you speak purpose aloud, or do you mutter doubt? Do you nourish your mind or feed it poison? These are not small questions. They are the mirror of your destiny. You cannot escape the rhythm, so you must build it with precision. Decide what kind of man you will become, then design his daily actions. Speak them, practice them, schedule them, repeat them until your body moves without question and your mind submits without resistance. This is not theory. It is law. It is the only way transformation becomes permanent. If you do not build a rhythm of success, you will default to a rhythm of failure. You will slip into distraction. You will follow the crowd. You will wake without direction. You will waste your hours in amusement. And you will look back years from now and wonder where your strength went. And the answer will be into repetition of the wrong things. You must now understand, repetition is the sculptor of greatness. Without it, you are nothing but a wishful thinker. With it, you become inevitable. Let others seek novelty and stimulation. You seek mastery through repetition. You perform the same small task until it becomes divine. You speak the same phrase until your soul believes it. There is no shortcut. There is no cheat. There is only rhythm. And rhythm is built one morning at a time, one evening reflection at a time, one deliberate word at a time. You are either installing the program of power or running the program of drift. But you will run a program. That is the nature of the human mind. This is the moment you must become a craftsman, a builder, a sculptor of thought. No more guessing. No more waiting for inspiration. Choose your rituals. Lock them in. Begin them tomorrow. Begin them with your alarm, with your posture, with your affirmations, with your first decision of the day, and repeat it without fail until rhythm takes over. Once it does, you will no longer need to fight for momentum. You will become momentum. You will rise automatically. Speak power without thinking. Act without delay. And the world will begin to move with you because you are no longer pausing to negotiate with hesitation. Your identity is set. Your rhythm is established. And your life will rise to match it. Power does not scream. Power does not chase. Power does not seek applause. Real power moves in silence. It walks with still eyes, calm breath, and an unshakable will. The man who holds his tongue, who controls his reactions, who does not leap to defend himself, that man cannot be defeated, for he has placed his power under his own command. Weak men believe that silence is submission. But silence, in the hands of the definite man, is a sword. It cuts through the noise. It confuses the critics. It breaks the rhythm of emotional reaction. He who can remain silent while the world provokes him, he who can walk forward while others cry out for distraction, is a man who owns himself. Self-control is strength. Indifference is armor. Fortitude is weaponry, and the man who forges these by daily discipline becomes dangerous. The world cannot bend him. The weak cannot tempt him. The critics cannot derail him. His eyes remain fixed on the goal, and his emotions remain under his authority, not theirs. You must now become that man, not through aggression, not through noise, but through inner discipline. Begin by mastering your reaction. When you are challenged, pause. When you are criticized, pause. When your emotions rise, pause. The pause is your throne. In it, you choose response over reaction, and that choice builds power. This is the essence of what I call controlled attention, the ability to direct the full force of your mental and emotional energy toward a single purpose without being pulled aside by the meaningless chatter of the crowd. The average man cannot focus. He is pulled by every sound, every emotion, every comment. But you must not be average. Charles M. Schwab, trained under the steel hand of Andrew Carnegie, was not the loudest man. But he was unshakable. His presence was calm, his words were chosen, his movements were deliberate. And because he mastered inner indifference to provocation, he became the highest paid executive in the world. His stillness commanded respect. You must now build that same stillness within yourself, not because it feels good, but because it is necessary. The world is loud, the masses shout, the drifter reacts, but the man of purpose decides in silence, then moves like steel. He does not explain, he does not beg, he does not perform for approval. He acts and lets the result speak in his place. You must now train the following mindset. I am silent when others shout. I am still when others panic. I act, not react. This is not poetic. This is survival. Every time you react in weakness, you transfer power. Every time you explain your purpose to those who cannot understand it, you dilute its strength. And every time you let the opinions of others shape your emotions, you lose command over the one kingdom that matters, your mind. You are not obligated to convince the world of your direction. You are not required to explain your motives to those who have never carried purpose themselves. Your proof will be your results. And if they cannot yet see the vision you carry, then let them wait. Their doubt is not your concern. Their criticism is not your compass. Silence is not cowardice. It is calculation. It is how the strong preserve their energy. While others waste words, you build. While others argue, you execute. While others scream for validation, you remain unseen until your work is complete. And when it is, you will not need to speak. Your life will thunder where your lips were quiet. Beware of this truth. The man who breaks his silence to defend himself forfeits power. For he has revealed insecurity. He has confessed uncertainty. The man who knows his direction does not argue with those who cannot see. He walks, and in time they will either follow or vanish behind him. But his focus remains unshaken. Practice this. When insulted, remain composed. When overlooked, remain committed. When misunderstood, remain consistent. These are the tests that separate the master from the mob. The stronger you become, the quieter you must be. Let the weak exhaust themselves in noise. You, however, will build in stillness. Declare now, my silence is power. My focus is sacred. I choose what enters my mind, and I reject all that does not serve my purpose. You will find that the moment you become still within, the world begins to lose its power over you. The media cannot shake you. The critics cannot reach you. The noise becomes background, and your purpose becomes everything. This is how you become immune to distraction. This is how you become unbreakable. And understand this. Confidence makes no noise. It does not perform. It does not plead. It builds in silence, through discipline, through repetition, through refusal to engage with nonsense. And when it erupts, it does so with precision. That is the confidence of a man who has mastered himself. You are not here to entertain. You are not here to convince. You are here to execute a mission. That mission is sacred, and sacred things are not thrown before the swine of public opinion. They are kept close, protected, sharpened, and when revealed, they transform all who witness them. But first, they must be forged in silence. You have within you the seed of this power. It only needs to be cultivated. Begin today. Rise early. Speak less. Think longer. Act with deliberation. Observe without responding. Train your thoughts to move in one direction. Guard your words as if they were gold. In time, you will become the man others turn to, not because you speak, but because you have become undeniable. A man is measured not by what he does when compelled, but by what he chooses to do when no one is watching. The truly great do not wait for recognition to act with excellence. They do not require applause to put forth their full strength. They understand this truth. You are always watched by conscience, by future generations, and by infinite intelligence. The world remembers those who gave more than they were paid for, who worked not for immediate compensation but for principle, who served not because it was demanded, but because it was right. These men are few, but their names endure. Their work outlasts them, and their rewards come in forms money could never have purchased. This is the foundation of the habit of going the extra mile. It is not merely a strategy, it is a spiritual law. Render more service than you are paid for, and do it cheerfully. Do it with energy. Do it as if the reputation of your soul depends on it, because in truth, it does. Every act done beyond what is required becomes spiritual capital. The man who does only what is asked will always be a servant, but the man who exceeds expectations becomes a magnet for opportunity. Employers notice, clients remember, partners gravitate, and even if the world seems slow to reward, do not doubt that infinite intelligence keeps perfect records. Let me tell you of a man who lived by this law. Andrew Carnegie. As a young boy working in a telegraph office, he did more than deliver messages. He learned the business. He stayed late. He memorized train schedules. He improved every process he touched, not because he was told, but because he chose to be excellent. Years later, when he built an empire, he selected only those men who had shown the same habit, not the loudest, not the most educated, but the ones who went beyond duty. This law creates reputation. It creates magnetism. It builds self-respect. The man who knows he gave everything he had walks taller. He needs no praise. His reward is internal. His confidence is earned. He becomes immune to the low wages of mediocrity because he knows he is planting seed, and all seeds faithfully planted yield. Now engrave these affirmations into your daily speech. I work as if my name depends on it, because it does. I give more than I am paid for, and life pays me in secret. I serve with enthusiasm, and the world is compelled to reward me. Let others ask, what's the least I can do? You ask, what more can I give? Let others calculate their effort by their paycheck. You calculate yours by your purpose. For while they sleep peacefully in their mediocrity, you are building a legacy that cannot be erased. Here is a law you must understand. Life multiplies what is given without demand. It withholds from the stingy. It forgets the lazy. It delays reward for the casual. But it overflows for the man who gives with joy, with faith, and with no hesitation. You must now make this habit part of your identity. You must become the man who stays 5 minutes longer, who delivers more value than expected, who fixes what others ignore, who serves even when the crowd says, why bother? And in doing so, you separate yourself from 95% of the world. Understand this truth. Your reputation is being built at all times, not just when you are seen, but especially when you are not. The quality of your thoughts, the sharpness of your execution, the care you bring to small tasks, these invisible acts form a visible destiny. Do not believe for a moment that great men wait to be assigned. They assign themselves. They take initiative. They improve everything they touch. And because of this, they become irreplaceable. Their names pass from mouth to mouth. Their results carry authority. And they never lack opportunity, for they created it by force of habit. You must now live with the awareness that you are watched by history. One day, your name will be spoken by those who come after you, with honor or with pity. And what they say will not be based on your possessions, but on your contribution. Did you serve with strength? Did you act with purpose? Did you leave every room better than you found it? Every act matters. Every detail speaks. Every silent moment of extra effort sends a message to the future. Even if no man sees it now, you see it, and infinite intelligence sees it. And the law, though silent, never forgets a seed planted in good faith. Make this your command. Today, in silence, do twice what is expected, not for praise, not for points, but for identity, for reputation, for inner strength, for the rhythm you are establishing within your spirit. Let your soul become conditioned to excellence, not as an event, but as a way of life. And when fatigue whispers, enough, let your heart respond, just a little more. When no one claps, let your conscience say, well done. When you could cut corners, let your integrity answer, not in my name. These moments, though small, become the weight that tips the scale of your future. Work not for reward, but as a representative of the man you have chosen to become. A man of dignity, of purpose, of honor, one who could never leave a job undone, one who raises the standard just by walking into the room. Let that man take over your every action, for one day they will ask, how did he rise? And the answer will not be luck. It will not be timing. It will not be talent. It will be this: he gave more than he was paid for. He worked as if history was watching, and he never once lowered his standard. No man ever rose far alone. No great achievement, no fortune, no empire, no invention has ever been the product of a single isolated will. Power, true multiplying power, is born when two or more minds unite in perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite purpose. This I have called the mastermind principle. It is not theory, it is law. You may possess desire, you may possess skill, you may even possess vision. But unless you align your mind with others who believe as you believe, decide as you decide, and act as you act, your energy will be limited. One man alone can burn brightly, yes, but when joined with other focused, definite minds, his light becomes a wildfire. A mastermind group is not a meeting. It is not a casual friendship. It is not idle talk. It is a spiritual alliance formed through harmonious purpose. It is two or more minds, each fixed on the same aim, each feeding strength, belief, strategy, and conviction into one another until the third mind, greater than the sum of the parts, is born. The moment this third mind is formed, invisible forces begin to move. Ideas arrive that none could think of alone. Plans become clearer. Energy increases. Faith becomes contagious. Each man becomes sharper, stronger, and more focused simply by being in the presence of aligned thought. It is not magic, it is law. Let me give you examples. Edison, though brilliant, did not labor alone. He built teams. He drew from minds of precision, of curiosity, of purpose. His laboratory was not a workplace. It was a forge for the mastermind. Every invention, every breakthrough came through the friction and fire of unified thinking. Carnegie, though wise, did not build steel empires by himself. He surrounded himself with men of decision. He said openly, "I am not the smartest, but I attract to me those whose intelligence I require." He had a definite purpose, and he aligned with others who sharpened it. That is the secret most miss. Lincoln, though visionary, did not preserve a nation alone. He chose a cabinet of rivals, men with strong minds, different views, yet all harmonized toward one definite aim. Together, they created more than Lincoln could have done alone. That is power, that is wisdom, that is law. Now you must ask yourself, with whom is my mind aligned? Are the men around you definite or drifting? Do they feed your fire or dilute your vision? Do they speak words of power or poison? You cannot afford to be neutral in your associations. You become the average of their purpose, their energy, their belief. Command yourself now. I attract minds of vision and decision. I give energy to the circle. I do not drain it. I rise through harmony with other focused minds. This is not poetry. This is architecture. You are building the structure through which success must pass. If your daily companions are aimless, if your conversations are low in purpose, then your outcomes will reflect that vibration. There is no escape from the influence of environment, so you must build one that multiplies you. I instruct you now to perform this exercise. List the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. Beside each name, write their dominant attitude, their average energy, their standard of thought, their clarity of aim, their willingness to grow. Then ask, do these minds multiply me or diminish me? If you find that your circle is costing you growth, you must remove yourself, not with anger, not with cruelty, but with definiteness. You are a steward of power. You cannot afford to sit in the company of doubt and drift. You cannot rise while chained to men who accept mediocrity. They may be kind, but they are not aligned. And alignment is the law of power. Find one man who believes in your dream, one man of action, of conviction. Sharpen each other. Meet weekly. Share goals. Speak your chief aims aloud. Challenge each other. Pray over your plans. Review progress. Repeat this rhythm until your bond becomes unbreakable and your plans unstoppable. Understand this. The right association will do more to raise your belief than 1,000 books. One word from a committed mind can unlock an idea, correct a weakness, restore your faith. The mastermind does not just add, it multiplies. And without it, you are operating beneath your potential. You may ask, what if I cannot find such men? Then begin alone, but speak aloud daily. I am attracting the right minds into my life. I am prepared to serve and strengthen my mastermind allies. I release all weak association, and I walk now in harmony with those called to build with me. This declaration sets a new frequency in motion. You will be drawn to the right people. You will begin to notice the ones who speak in alignment. You will begin to see who is serious and who is casual. And when you recognize a builder, approach him. Share your aim. Speak your truth. Begin the alliance. Let me warn you, the mastermind cannot be formed with those who do not walk in purpose. It cannot be formed with the jealous, the sarcastic, the casual, the unfocused. It must be formed with the definite, with the faithful, with the ones who are ready to labor for something higher. If this means you must be selective, good. Your future demands it. The greatest mistake a man can make is to attempt greatness while surrounded by smallness. Not small in size, but small in belief, small in discipline, small in vision. That environment will shrink you, but the mastermind will expand you. And once you experience it, you will never again settle for empty talk. So from this day forward, act as a man who is building a council of power. Speak with integrity. Listen with purpose. Share only your definite aims. Do not gossip. Do not waste time. Do not engage with the trivial. For every word spoken in the mastermind circle should sharpen belief, clarify plan, or stir action. When you walk in unity with other strong minds, infinite intelligence joins your work. The plans become clearer. The obstacles shrink. The courage grows. And your purpose begins to move with a speed and force you never knew possible. That is the secret of the giants, and it is now yours. You are not just a man, you are a message. You are a signal to the world of what is possible, what is permitted, and what is demanded. Someone is watching you. Someone is learning from you. Someone is deciding how much effort to give, how much courage to summon, how much discipline to maintain based on the example you set. You may not know their name. You may never meet their eyes, but they exist. A son, a younger brother, a stranger, a colleague, a neighbor, a man asleep to his potential, a man near surrender. He is watching, and he is asking, does any man still walk in power? Does any man still live with honor, with purpose, with fire? And if you fail, if you lower your standard, if you abandon your aim, he may never begin. If you retreat, he may never rise. If you compromise, he may believe there is no such thing as integrity. That is the weight, that is the burden, and that is your sacred assignment. To live as an example that others can follow without fear. This is not ego. This is responsibility. The great do not act for applause. They act because they understand that history is written by those who obey purpose in silence. And when the noise fades and the trials pass and the years reveal what was truly valuable, it is always the example of one man that remains. Act like a leader, even when no one follows. Because leadership is not about control, it is about obedience to the higher law. The law that demands you speak with purpose, move with courage, and labor with discipline, even when it feels like no one is watching. For the truth is, God is watching. The future is watching. Your legacy is watching. Let me remind you of a forgotten truth. You may not know the full impact of your success for 10 years, or 20, or even in your lifetime, but still you must press on. The tree you plant today may feed a generation unborn. The word you speak today may be the sentence that keeps another man alive tomorrow. An unknown man once mentored Andrew Carnegie. He is not remembered. His name is not etched in stone, but the seed he planted grew into a fortune that employed thousands and changed the world. His reward was not in fame, but in eternal significance. He acted as if failure would break the chain, and because of that, the chain remained unbroken. Now is the moment to declare, I live as if all depends on me, because it does. I am the first in my bloodline to walk with purpose. I act as if failure would break the world, because in some small way it might. Say these words not as sentiment, but as instruction. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to dabble. You are here to become the man others point to and say, because of him, I did not quit. Because of him, I believed again. That is your real reward, not applause, but impact. You are the bridge between what is and what could be. If you stand firm, others may cross. If you break, they may fall. That truth should not paralyze you. It should awaken you. For when you accept this assignment, strength you did not know you had begins to emerge. You stop hesitating. You stop shrinking. You begin to walk like a man who has been chosen. The world needs you, not a copy of you, not a diluted version. The real you, the one who decided to act, to rise, to hold the standard, to walk in the laws that govern greatness, to build when others break, to shine when others dim, to persevere when others fold. From this day forward, everything you do must reflect that decision. Wake early, speak power, walk tall, serve deeply, lead quietly, refuse to explain your aim. Let your work reveal your nature. Let your results speak on your behalf. Let your life be proof that faith, decision, and purpose still rule the world. The man who walks in this way is immortal. His name may fade, but his effect remains. He becomes a thread in the fabric of destiny. He becomes a symbol of what is possible. He becomes a living answer to the silent prayers of men who were waiting for someone to go first. That man is you.